Warm welcome to Japan. I get away with because I live in Japan right now. Okinawa is, one of my favorite spots to visit in Japan. It's very majestic, mystical. It has a long history, a long culture. It's a power spot. Having said that, let's cleanse our soul today. Let's have a purified mind and talk about Web3. So just a quick intro. I joined from a company called ConsenSys. If you guys have ever heard of MetaMask, that's one of our core products. So we have new quirks and features via Infura. We just launched our Infura API SDK as well, so the developers can create, mint, and manage NFTs. This was launched about 2 weeks ago. We have MetaMask Snaps, which is an independent API that developers can create new services and application layers on top of MetaMask. So we have a lot of things going on. Fiat on-ramp service as well with Apple Pay, hopefully with Google Pay as well, maybe Bware. So a lot of things going on. We are here to help shape the future with all of you. And we are here to help from an infrastructure perspective. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our experts in this space. If you guys can go one by one and kind of introduce yourself, what projects you're working on, what kind of things, it's like quick control to do. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Nick Zaldastani, and from the United States. I actually was part of Oracle back when it was 500 people, and the whole concept of Web 3.0 storage is very exciting because a lot of what we were doing at Oracle back 40 years ago is now becoming distributed. So it's super exciting to be here. I am the chairman of CESS and the co-founder. We are a distributed, fully distributed storage system. In other words, we also distribute the content, which means there's no point of failure. There's a lot of details about it, which we get into later, but excited to be here because it's all about integration. And when I think about Web 3.0, I think about how we all work together in making all this possible.
I think I have to say again. Steve Heung again. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Allie. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nakji Network. So we do data indexing. We make it fast and easy to get data from blockchain, whether real-time or historical. So that includes all Web3 data, including DeFi data, NFT data, GameFi data. So, yep.
Hello, I'm Flavian, the CEO of Bware Labs, and we are providing API infrastructure and also validator operations. So what we focus more is empowering developers to build on different chains, mostly EVM compatible and non-EVM compatible as well. And we support the whole life cycle of development, starting from the early stages when you can't develop on without any costs, and until you grow and you become a successful project. So that's our role and the mantra to the Web3 world in a way. That's all.
Hi, Osaka. Hello, everyone. This is Bruce. I'm from Google Cloud. So basically, I'm just trying to introduce myself a bit. Is when you say my name, Blues kind of weird. It's kind of music. And I personally love blues so much. So if you guys have any musician here, feel free to talk to me. And then apart from that, I personally work at Google Cloud as a BD. So basically, we support from Google perspective, we are Web3 we're trusting Web3 technology. So that's why we're going to support the whole Web3 ecosystem. So that's why we're here. Very pleasure to talk to this expert guy because we are at Web2. So we're in the middle of Web3, yes. Trying to support everyone here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Really exciting stuff. So it seems like we're all aiming and harmonizing to get there, right? Eventually. So I think everyone's doing their part in cultivating the movement. So basically, my first question is going to be an open question. It's going to be: Is Web3 is it a placebo? Is it a myth? Is it really exist? I know with the current market conditions, everyone's kind of worried about, oh, Web3 is going to deteriorate. It's not going to be here. I think we should build confidence around infrastructure, and I want everyone, all the speakers, to contribute in some way, shape, or form, and kind of, in their own words, what is Web3? What kind of opportunities do you see in this space? Thanks.
So as a senior member of this panel, I can go back, as I mentioned, about 40 years to Oracle, when the concept of getting data, or more importantly, information into the right hands, was super important. And back then, a group of individuals under the umbrella of Oracle Corporation worked really hard at some of the greatest challenges to not just store, but also retrieve information to make good decisions by. And local applications could work on top of that environment. It was extremely, it was a very long process. In fact, when I joined Oracle in '88, it was 500 people, but we had a database that sometimes we put information into, and sometimes it didn't always come back out right away. And it kind of sounds like a little bit of what we're dealing with in Web 3.0. In other words, it's a process. And so to me, Web 3.0 is all about unifying the information on our planet and making it be able to be used in a very commercial way. In other words, that it's not just for one thing, but it's for all things and every single commercial project out there. And so by bringing everything together and bringing together not just the Web3 community, but the Web2 community, the mainframe community, the isolated standalone server systems, to me, that's the new umbrella. It's the entire universe of data and information being controlled. And so to make that work, we have to bring the discipline that we've had under the universe of Oracle to the world. And we have to all work together, all of us. We have a great responsibility to making this a reality. Web3 will just be a dream if we don't work together in that harmony. And that's what is exciting. And so when I had the opportunity to co-found CESS, which is a fully distributed system, I was excited because I saw the potential of where we were going, or where we could go in this new world, and all of a sudden have more things talking to each other. In other words, all systems talking to each other, every single opportunity operate. And so that is, to me, Web3 is not at all a placebo. It is not just a vision, it's a reality of us working together and unifying the world's information and the world's systems towards a better good. You have one right there.
Awesome, thank you. We can go one by one, or whoever wants to raise their hand.
It's better. That's better than I could have ever put it. I totally agree with that. I think Web3 is unified by the data, right? It's everyone has the incentivization structures in place to provide good data, and everything that, Web3 is all the companies, all the projects that touch blockchain data pretty much.
From my perspective, Web3 comes to solve some issues. So the way we see it is that Web2 has really good products out there that are reliable, are working seamlessly, they have a lot of users, and everything works fine. But there are some parts that are concerning in a way. Some parts like privacy, some parts like censorship or decentralization. You can already see that some companies have some sort of monopoly on some segments, and people are worrying about those. So in our perception, Web3 comes like an add-on to improve Web2 companies in a way, to add another layer of transparency into the product itself. So by adding blockchain technology underneath Web2 products, they improve and in a way they become better products. From my point of view, Web3 couldn't exist by itself like a single entity. So it's interconnected with other products around the world. At least that should be the vision and how it should evolve in the future to gain adoption.
Cool. So I personally want to express my, what I observed about Web3. Seems I'm more like a Web2 guys. I just want to share my experience. I find that Web3 or technology, blockchain technology is definitely a revolutionary technology to build. And what I see is that it's keep evolving. From back then, there was only Bitcoin digital asset, and going into DeFi, and then NFT is able to register your own and create content, which has never happened in a digital world. So when I observing is that it's gonna keep evolving in the future, and there's gonna be a lot of amazing things is keep coming. So that's why I see Web3 is a lot of excitement. So believing in the technology itself, it's gonna be bringing you a lot of innovation stuff.
I'm agree with all. We've been evolving from Web 1.0, so we used to be in 2.0. Now we are moving on to 3.0. Maybe somebody will say in 1 year, maybe 5.0. So yes, we've been growing and living from the 1.0, but we have to be adapted. So that's I could sure that I also agree. So we are moving and evolving to the world of never we've been experienced. We've not been experienced. So that's why every business and for games and for any crypto world or offline world, they are also evolving, adapting to the let's call it the Web3 world. So that's why I agree that kind of evolving and also we call it community based, but in 4 years ago it was developed already, but it's been evolving maybe underground. It's now on the surface now, so it's going to be fly. So I think we have to fly together. Yeah, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you all. These are really great explanations and observations. Just 2 cents from my side, I believe how I would probably convey this or relay this message about Web3 is probably, taking ownership of your own data. That's the true kind of formality, I think, of Web3. Just a little promotion, Manea accomplishes that. Basically, if you log into a browser, you're able to control your own data, right? Web2, you're the product. They're selling yourself. They're selling your own data. So let's take it back. Self-sovereignty. Everything is back to you guys, the ownership. Okay, so moving on to my next question. Let's deep dive a little bit and dig deeper on what Web3 can bring. What it can bring to the table. What sort of benefits does it, create on our everyday, day-to-day lives? What sort of Web3 apps can we develop? If anyone can kind of have a view on that.
I think Masa is looking at me. So, I can share my experience. Actually, I want to share my personal experience. For example, like when you are traveling, right? You got to bring when you traveling some let me say a smaller country or something, and it require you to bring a lot of cash on you. But sometimes it's definitely I think that's not efficient at all. When you're trying to for example like you're going to purchase something you urgently needed, and and it requires to get cash from the phone banking. Somehow, your bank, your credit card issued by your country, which is not allowed to, to be used on maybe a country you are in. So that's going to be constraint to the current, financial system that's currently working. So I believe in digital assets. I believe that's definitely will be the future. And I also heard a lot of it, like the US, they're mentioning they're going to issue a digital asset to bring into the world. So I think that's gonna be help the human's life a lot. Yeah. So that's just my living experience that I want to share.
I can continue on that idea. So basically, also while traveling, you could see that when trying to on the payment side, when trying to get cash, banks have their own policy and they take you or ask for a big fee when withdrawing. So a big use case of Web3 is around payment, like an universal payment solution. Which mostly works around stablecoins. A stablecoin is basically a token asset that is pegged to a currency or wide adopted currency. So that would be one of the use cases that Web3 could have, or enhancement in terms of payment. Of course, not every area is suitable for Web3. There are some places where it could be, and it is currently implemented in a good way. A good example is in the gaming industry, where you can tokenize assets and things or items that you find in a game. In a way, giving the possibility to freely sell some of the assets that you have in a game. For example, there are cases where people are playing a game for 2-3 years. They're building a character. They have a lot of items on them, and suddenly they decide to not play anymore. Something happened, but they want to use those assets that were gained through hard work and give it to someone else that wanted to cut the line. So there could be a price for that, and that could be achieved or is achieved by adding a Web3 layer on top of them. So that is another use case of Web3. I won't tell everything because maybe the other colleagues would like to add some others.
Yeah, I think the current use cases or the current applications we've seen in Web3 is just scratching the surface of what is possible. And I think as the infrastructure gets more mature, as everyone on this panel build their products to make the infrastructure and the blockchain data more accessible to more people, there's going to be a lot more applications that we can't even come up with today, right? Just like how when dial-up was still a thing, it would have been very hard to come up with VR, AR, all these new things that are only possible based on a fast infrastructure network. So I'd like to keep an open mind on what Web3 is, how it can help people, how people can implement new projects, new ideas in Web3.
Question to the panels and also to the audience too, because as mentioned, we are on like Web3. We are moving, also we are already on Web3, but we are using the infrastructure from 2.0 and 1.0. Also, I'm holding this one would be like maybe the product of 2.0. So we might need the 3.0 product of hardware. So we've been mentioning for the gaming, I'll say it's a software. I mean soft asset, but we might need a hard asset for Web.3. Thank you.
So you mentioned the importance of taking control of our data again. And I think that it is not binary in my books, Web3. It is an environment where you can have ownership of your data. That's the first thing that I think is super important. It is decentralized storage, and that's the importance that I shared earlier about no point of failure in the system. There's no way that someone can take out your information if it's decentralized. And it also has decentralized indexing so that the nodes are controlling this file size, because if you're going to have an enterprise solution, you can't think of storing, let's say, a terabyte of information, and the next time you want to store it, you store another terabyte. Next time you store another terabyte. All of a sudden, you have 3 terabytes of data for a file that you only have 1 copy of. So that indexing is very, very important so that you can control that space. And then, and probably most important, but it's self-governing. That it is not something that's governed by an organization or anyone, but it is self-controlling. And me, this is why I'm so excited about where we're going in the world, is, as I said, it's not binary. This has to coexist with all the systems that are out there today. And there are special usage of a decentralized storage system, and there's certain benefits of a centralized storage system, or you point out a storage right there on that laptop. And I think that as we think about this universe, and plugging it all together, that's where it gets extremely exciting, because we're able to now utilize our systems, and I say the universal systems that are out there, as one massive computer system that can be super fast. CESS, for example, right now clocks at over 6,000 transactions per second. That is enterprise level computing. We're super fast because you have to be super fast to be able to use it. You can't wait even minutes. You can't certainly wait hours. You need that information right away. And so all the possibilities, all the things that I've seen, I've been in your seats out there listening to these panels, and all the exciting things that are going on with gaming and storage of movies and storage of music, all this is going to become possible in this new paradigm that respects the advancements of the technology that we're building on blockchain, as well as what we've already done before. And that coexistence really is going to provide massive opportunities for applications that we've never even thought about, as was mentioned earlier. We're going to see things that we never thought were possible. I've had a chance to talk, and I know a lot, some of you might know, for example, I'm a lover of the game of chess. Chess, out there in the marketplace on Web3 is a completely different beast. I can't wait till this stuff comes out. So that's just the beginning. I mean, I see 50 years ahead of us leveraging what we're building right here, right now. And if I go back to, as I said, 40 years ago, that was the beginning of one chapter. This is the beginning of a whole new chapter.
Thank you. Well, I think everyone brought more confidence, right? Web3 is no myth, it's not placebo, it's here to stay. I think data is very important, right? So as the market matures, we all evolve all together to the next phase. I think it's going to bring on more traffic, more network consumptions, to enable a healthy, sustainable network, right? This is, I think, the path of the Web3 success. Now, the infrastructure is there. Now, are there any solutions surrounding this that you guys are aware of working on from an infrastructure perspective to, alleviate the burden on bandwidth issues arising, right? Become centralized again. So, just want to have a view of how we are going to be able to use bare metal, and have these a fully sustainable decentralized data storage. So, if any of you have any ideas surrounding data and how to manage decentralized data storage, I know Infura has an IPFS, by the way, supported by ConsenSys, but if you guys can have your own kind of talk on this.
Okay.
I think that would be a very interesting question for me. From Google perspective, okay, we are trying to build infrastructure to support, just like I mentioned, we're trying to support the whole ecosystem. So I can share there's one of my colleagues who was built a layer one chain by himself, and I asked them about what's the challenge they are having right now. So because they just like Nicholas and Allie and this experts are trying to tell us that we need to have a robust and a strong infrastructure to support every product they're going to involve. For example, like GameFi as well, game server may require a lot of computing resource, a lot of storage, a lot of networking access. So how can even to support that? So I want to share insight with you guys. So Google Cloud infrastructure wasn't intended to commercialize to sell the product to our customer. So what we built for is because our Google's product, for example, like everyone is using Google search every day, Gmail or Google Maps, and we try to support those products to serve millions of users across the globe. So we built the infrastructure in order to support that. It's not because of originally to build a Google Cloud itself. So we opened that technology to support the whole ecosystem. So for example, like strong networking itself, we Google invest infrastructure chip and C level itself. No one does like Google does. So I believe that's something that we can improve the infrastructure itself.
Okay, so we could talk from a user's perspective. So let's think about someone using a streaming service like Spotify or YouTube or any kind of that. So me as a user, if I want to use a product, I want to work flawlessly. I want to click and the content to show immediately and work without any issues. So as a user and using a product, I don't care necessarily about the underlying tech. If it's decentralized, if it's centralized, all I care for me is to work and to work flawlessly. So with the attention span these days, if a product is not working for 1 or 2 minutes, you kind of not using it anymore. So the main focus for decentralized data to work is to be reliable. So if the underlying systems work very well and provide data really fast for the user to see the content when they need it, then that's a really good solution. And I think that's the way for adoption. Because Web 2 has the advantage and technical advancement in a lot of years, and they've driven that to almost perfection. Because you need to keep your users using your platform in a way. So until we figure out by decentralizing data, if we can provide the same level of service, then we are on the road for adoption, and companies will start using decentralized storage solutions like IPFS or Filecoin, or if they get at that stage. So we are here to see the progress, and in the end, we might get there and see all these solutions that we are now working on to be used in the future. Adding on to that, when we started our project to provide infrastructure for developers, we went with the mentality of providing the best service first, to acquire a level of performance and what should be standard, and afterwards going towards decentralization. So that's our mantra, to be able to provide decentralized service but at the same quality as a centralized service in a way.
So actually, I wanted to step back a little bit, and basically, I wanted to say that, like, with Google Cloud, they're solving the problem of the hardware infrastructure, the data centers, a lot of the bigger underlying problems. And then for Bware, they're solving the infrastructure problem of RPCs and having reliable nodes on blockchains. Now, for my company, Nakji, we solve another layer, which is making data available to everyone, making historical data and real-time data available to everyone from blockchains. So I think they're completely different layers of infrastructure, and I just wanted to make that a little bit clear. And then CESS is solving the storage problem. So yeah, I mean, just I do think that regarding the data availability, data accessibility side, there's a huge opportunity here because it's kind of like a caching layer, right? Like if no one's incentivized currently to provide historical data fast, when you have blockchain nodes or miners are really incentivized to mine new blocks, not to be able to provide old blocks, or to process that old data. So that's where I see my role in the ecosystem, in the infrastructure layer.
So I think we're in this age today that Apple has destroyed our ability to basically introduce technology that's not amazing. And so as we think about Web3, we realize that we have to be best of game, and that not one organization can do everything. That means we're going to have multiple blockchains. That means we're going to have multiple technologies out there. And to make all this work, we have to work together in that same light, in that same way of integrating toward something of amazing greatness. We were talking about, waiting around. No one's going to wait around for 30 seconds. We have to have transaction processing speeds that are high. We have to have interoperability. We have to go backwards and we have to go into the future. But we have to do it with extraordinary focus on excellence. And that is, to me, one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. You see, before, a company could come out with something and sort of have this introductory piece that was good enough because next year they'd have something better, and next year they'd have something better. We can't do that anymore. And we all have to work together on ensuring that what we are bringing out is extraordinary, because the future of Web3 is determined by how great it is. And so as we introduce things into this world, and that's why the interoperability is so critical, that's why bringing out the greatness of every organization that is in Web3 coming together is so critical, because we are demanding today. We're demanding more than we've ever been. And that's great. That's okay. And we just have to step up to it.
Thank you. I believe in this keyword of interoperability, connectivity, composability. I think we need to harmonize, and of course, everyone wants to create their own ecosystem. Everyone wants to gather their own community. But I think, as a whole, we need to have this, Scrum synergy where we align ourselves and move towards the future. So, thank you all. So, move on to my next question. So, how do the Web2 companies, adapt to Web3? Like, is there anything from your end as pioneers in this space and, experts in this space? How do you bridge the gap? How do you kind of make a better infrastructure for them to join, just really in short, and what kind of problems you're facing now and how you're trying to accomplish those and tackle those problems. Yeah.
I think actually Web3, I don't think it can be isolated from Web2. They're not totally separate things, right? And one of the things I always say is, I think in 5 to 10 years, there won't be a blockchain industry anymore. There'll just be companies that use blockchain. Just like how brick and mortar stores now have websites, right? I think everyone just will be using blockchain as they see fit in the next couple of years. So one way to make that easier is to provide adapters, right? Adapters to help Web2 companies or developers who are accustomed to those technologies to switch over to accessing blockchain data. So the way we do it is by providing like REST APIs, WebSocket APIs to be able to access data just as if blockchain were another database. So yeah, so far that's what we've seen has helped a lot, is providing those traditional interfaces and APIs so that people who already know how to code can jump in and start creating value immediately.
From our perspective, we can look on how the Web2 is looking right now. So, for example, you have backend that runs backend or frontend or other services that runs on Google Cloud, for example, and in a way to add a Web3 flavor to it, you simply can think of it as an add-on. So you have two choices on adding Web3 flavor to an existing company. You can either run your own infrastructure, meaning that to actually have access to the blockchain, you would need to have a local copy of the database itself. So that will bring, you'd have some needed expertise in running blockchain nodes and maintaining infrastructure and having alerts in place and everything that comes with that. So you can either do that and do everything internally, or you can use other services that are specialized in providing blockchain infrastructure. So for example, Bware Labs or Infura from ConsenSys are already providing this kind of service, meaning that we are maintaining the whole node infrastructure, and we are scaling. We have a notification system and everything in place, and developers can start building right away just by accessing an endpoint and retrieving data from that. So those are kind of two of the ways in which a Web2 company can go towards Web3. But it also depends on the needs. So it simply depends on what they are trying to achieve, and with adding Web3 flavor.
I love Flavian's comment on this. So I personally want to share another perspective regarding to how to facilitate people from Web2 to Web3. Because for nowadays, I believe there's probably 90% of developers still on Web2. So we need to think about how can we smoothly grab them to Web3. I think first thing is education. Definitely education. So it's not about financial advice, but what's really about true value that Web3 can bring to the world. So that's first thing, is that we got to keep educating people, and secondly is that how can we build the community together. Just like Nicholas said, hey, we need to unite together and to drive the world to invite them to join Web3. So from Google what we can do, I think since we are a totally open source promoter, and we are also, I think, best known by our development community. So we are, very happy to do we can partner with a lot of like project or layer 1 chain, layer 2 chain to build a hackathon together. So to drive more people to join Web3. And or even we can leverage our educational platform. I'm not sure anyone from this room ever heard of a cool lab. This is a totally open educational. You can do anything on the lab. It will step by step tell you how to build things on Google Cloud, of course. But the most interesting is we did a collaborate with the layer 1 chain, how to build a validator very, very with a one click or with an instruction. And you can inspire people to easily adopt those concepts to do anything they want on the lab. So yes, I believe that's something that we can do it together to bring more people to join Web3.
Actually, I like Allie's comment adapter because it's our brand name. I don't like to say just brand name. Actually, our used to be this. We've been having. We have to for like business wise and living wise, means we have to adapt because long time ago. Now we are using like living on like 5G, but we used to live like from 1G level. But yes. Like Okinawa is different from Tokyo infrastructure for Web3 and every infrastructure. So we have to be, for like hardware asset or software asset, we have to be adaptive. So everyone says we need, but we cannot just go on at the same time for the education. Okay, we have to go education little by little. We have to prepare and we have to prepare hardware, but we have to adapt into Web 2 or Web 3, but we have to make them move on for Web 3 level. Yes, that's my comment.
You know, as I said here, I am going back to 1994 when I was in New York with a company called IBM, promoting a new technology called DCE, Distributed Computing Environment. And here we are, what is that, 30 plus years later. And so we talk about going from Web 2 to Web 3 or evolving. It's no different than the problem that we had back then. The evolution has to be driven by problems that have to be solved. I think all too often we look at technology and the advancement of technology being so great that it has to be, it's the field of dreams. It has to be accepted. And we have to take a step back as we do this evolution and ask ourselves, what are the applications? What are the data needs where Web3 really is standing out and really does offer something above what we already have? And then how do we take that and in essence implement that in respect of what we already have with Web 2 and our existing systems? So back then, it was as simple as just trying to get a purchase order from one company to another electronically. That was the challenge in 1994. Just get a purchase order over from one computer system to another. That was how basic it was back then. Today, we have so much more opportunity to do so many other things, and so we have to really take a step back and say, what is it? What problem do we want to really solve together that will make something huge? Because let's think about this. In 1994, 1995, there was no way to send electronic. We were faxing. We were mailing purchase orders, invoices back and forth. Think about what we can do with this great technology that can really take the enterprise, take our organizations to a whole new level. Because if we can get that, whether it's gaming or video streaming or audio streaming or enterprise corporation management, all these things are now possible, but we have to start with what is most important. What is the problem that really has to be solved? And then get all coming together and solving it so elegantly that we stand out. And that's what, if you want to go back in history books and take a lesson from, take a look at what IBM did with DCE, because it was a revolutionary technology back then. And we have so much opportunity today to go that next step and say, okay, what is it? Let's come together and say, what are the things that really are going to make sense? Not just an example or a demo, but something that changes our world.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I think we all need to educate ourselves, right? And the new formation of the Web3 lies in, basically creating a network, everyone aligning themselves and heading towards the new era. So just to sum it up, if you guys have any key takeaways, key messages that you would like to leave to the audience, we have 5 minutes left. A short 1-minute elevator pitch on what you're doing. You can sell yourself, sell your project, promotion time. Take it away.
Just a quick summary for today. I would give everybody just a quick takeaway for today. Is from my perspective. First thing is keep faith. Secondly is keep solving. Third, please use GCP. Just kidding. So basically, we're trying to support Web3 ecosystem. So we are offering incentive program to support Web3 startup and also incubator as well. So we're also gathering a lot of resource because we want to promote and support the whole to do the co-branding together. So I personally just just host the Web3 virtual forum. Which is broadcast across the whole app, which is the first ever event that I host. So that's definitely will be very excited. So we want to support all of you. Everybody is here. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
So everybody knows that now we are in bear market, and a lot of projects are disappearing day by day. So in my opinion, this is a good moment to build and to build great stuffs. So you can clearly see which are the projects that are here to stay and will remain for the next cycle and build great stuff. And this is the moment where we can focus on valuable things and products that will be used by others in a way, meaningful products. So we are, with Bware Labs, we are here to help products develop, builders and developers. We offer ways in which they can develop in a free manner without any costs, and to prepare themselves for getting bigger and getting adoption. So we are here for the whole process till idea until I don't know, like 1 billion company. So we're here to help. Please reach out to us, and we can provide the needed API infrastructure or also validator service for the industry to grow.
So echoing Flavian's sentiment is that I've had a really great time meeting a ton of you here at this conference because it's the bear market now. Everyone who's actually still here is either a builder or you just like pain. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's great to meet so many builders here. So yeah, like my company, we help products with the API side, with just being able to spin up their services, spin up their products quickly. So for any builders out there, like most of the time you have to build smart contracts, you have to build a website, and you have to build the backend or data infrastructure. So oftentimes the backend part is one of the harder parts that are overestimated or underestimated, sorry. And that's something that we can help with. You just have to integrate your smart contract very quickly, and we'll provide the whole backend infrastructure for you. So yeah, our goal is to make it easy for everyone who survives the bear market to be able to have successful projects fast and easy.
15 minutes for my business. So I'd like to be adaptive with you all. So let's be friends first, and let's be adaptive, and let's grow together. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo, I am so excited about a bear market because I've always done the most extraordinary things during bear markets because the real people start to show up. And I couldn't agree with what you shared more. As we think about Web3, the heart of it is data and the storage of that data. And we are the first fully distributed data solution at CESS And we, as I mentioned, also distribute the content, which is extremely valuable. And so, but we're not stopping there. This is for enterprise level. So we need to have this storage system work just as well as the storage systems we've had before. It has to have that type of excellence. And that's why I'm excited to be here, to integrate with all of these great people on the stage here and with you all out there. We have, as I said, an amazing future ahead of us, and could not be more excited. A comment was made earlier, how much is going to happen between now and December, and I could not agree more. I'm seeing tremendous developments here in Japan. It's such an honor to be here and to see the developments happening, but also for all the people that I've met and those that I hope to meet tonight on the boat, could not be more excited about what we're doing, and so thank you.
Okay, thank you all. That wraps it up. No permission from my side. Just check out the website. We're here to stay. Let's build the community as one unity. All right. Thank you.